The secret's out. You can make a ton of money grading Pokemon cards. Alright, you probably already knew that, but you haven't seen my free grading profit calculator. It's in Google Spreadsheets. It's going to do all the hard work for you. We're going to cover it in this video. I'm going to go over some tips and tricks, so make sure you stay till the end. And let's make some money grading Pokemon cards. There's people making a full-time living just buying raw Pokemon cards, grading them at PSA, CGC, whoever, and flipping them for a profit. And it's super easy, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how. So let's briefly cover this. Basically what we're going to be doing is just buying raw Pokemon cards on TCG Player online, at Facebook marketplaces, wherever you can get them, and we're going to be sending them to PSA or CGC and grading them. And once we grade them, we're going to be flipping them and selling them for a premium on marketplaces. Alright, I'm assuming that you already know how to grade Pokemon cards, and if you don't, that's completely fine. You can find instructions in my free ebook in the video description. But anyways, really the first step is to identify which raw cards are going to have the highest margin, and that's what my grading profit calculator does for you. And I have a few examples to make this super simple, so let's get right into it. Alright, here is the very simple grading profit calculator. We're going to be going over it using an example of the Pikachu VMAX modern card from the trainer gallery in Lost Origin, a beautiful card. The instructions here are on the right. They're super simple, but make sure you stay for the video because we're going to go over some really awesome tips. So let's get right into it. All these blue boxes are things you're going to fill out, and then the spreadsheet's going to do all the work for you. We're going to be using two websites, PokeData and PokeMetrics, and I highly suggest you get familiarized with these websites because they're extremely useful. So we're going to start with PokeData. We're going to search for the Pikachu VMAX. We are going to find the card. Oh, first one, Lost Origin. And PokeData is going to be used to find the raw price, the PSA 10 price, and the PSA 9 price. You're going to have to sign up for an account. It's completely free. But also this raw price is from eBay, so you can get the cards on TCG Player. And so make sure you check TCG Player. Honestly, if you can find the cards locally, that's best because you can inspect the card before you get it. But let's start filling out the spreadsheet. Excuse me. So we're going to put the PSA 10 price, which is 176 in here. And then the PSA 9 price is 66. I'm just going to round down here. And then the raw price is 45. So now we have the prices in here, and then we're going to switch over to PokeMetrics. And this is going to give us the chances of getting the grade that we want. It's also going to show us like how much this card is being graded. Super useful website as well. So make sure you get familiar with this. Let's go ahead and try to search for Lost Origin Trainer Gallery 17 full art. And as you can see, it pulls it up. PSA 10 gem mint rate at 72% nearly. PSA 9 23%. So basically if you send in 100 cards, 72% roughly will be a PSA 10 23%, and that's what we're going to use in the calculator. We're also going to add up for everything PSA 8 and below. So let's go ahead and start putting that in. Use decimals here. 0.72 and the other one was 23.23. So what is that? 75, 95. So with a 95% chance to get a 9 or 10, this card is a perfect example of the kind of card we're looking for. You also want to take note that the PSA 9 price is pretty much break even. And that's really what I'm looking for when I'm finding cards that you can grade for profit. With only a 5% chance to get a PSA 8 or below, that's super good. Any PSA 8 or below, you're going to be losing money. So just keep those in mind. We're going to cover that more in advance in the tips and tricks. The calculator is almost already all filled out, but you can change all these blue boxes to fit your scenario. So bought cards, we're going to say that we bought 10 cards, and the cost to grade cards PSA 9 bulk rate is at $19 right now. But say you want to get the cards back sooner, you can use $40. Whatever fits your situation. But really, most of the time we're going to be doing PSA bulk submissions. The miscellaneous expense for the expenses box is going to be like any cost to ship the item to PSA to get it back, the shipping costs, any cost for materials, the sleeves, whatever. So we're going to put $30, which is a little bit high, but we're going to be lenient here. On the last part in the profit calculator box, this is the last stuff we have to fill out. The market fee percentage, this is how much the market's going to take for selling on it. For example, eBay fees at 15%, TCG player, you don't really sell slabs, but I think that's like 12.5%. But if you're selling on Facebook Marketplace, if you're meeting someone through Discord locally, you can use PayPal, friends and family, or on Instagram or whatever. And that means you would have 0% on the fees. And the cost of ship, we're just assuming that we're doing free shipping. You can put this to 0 if you charge them shipping. So another thing to keep in mind. But yeah, the calculator is all done at this point. So as you can see, to buy 10 of these raw cards to send them in for grading, it's going to cost us $670. The percentage is assuming that 7 of them are going to come back PSA 10, 2 of them PSA 9, and 1 8 or below. And if we sold all of those, we can get $1,409. Now let's take out the cost to ship and the market fee percentage, and we're left with $477 of profit, which is really good for just 10 cards. This is a really excellent card and an excellent example. And that's the basic of the calculator. It's done all that work for you. You can modify it if the PSA 10 price drops. If you feel that like people are putting cards on TCG player that aren't going to be their best cards, that aren't going to be 10s, which is a high chance, you can modify the percentage to be more lenient. So let's just do like 50% and then 25 or 20% and then 30%. So now we're saying that instead of what PokeMetrics says that most of the submissions to PSA are getting, we're going to be getting bad cards on TCG player, and only half of them are going to come back as a PSA 10 and 20% PSA 9 and then 30% 8 or below. But as you can see, even like when we are lowering the percentage a lot, we're still making some money. So that's the beauty of the calculator. You can modify it to your specific situation. You can modify the chances if you feel that they're not realistic or accurate. All right, you've seen the calculator. Now let's get into the meat and bones here. Let's talk about some of the pro tips, some things to keep in mind when you're doing this. But I can tell you guys, a lot of people are making a lot of money with this. I thought this calculator would make it a little bit easier for people to get their foot into the door and kind of understand this concept, and make it, even for people like me that have been doing this for a while, the calculator is super useful because it's just gonna quickly do a lot of the math for you. All right, the biggest thing to keep in mind with this calculator is that the percentages on PokeMetrics that we're using for a chance to get a PSA 10 aren't going to be 100% accurate. You got to think about it. Like most people, when they're grading, they're going to be pre-grading, they're going to be inspecting the card, they're only going to be sending in their best grades. Whereas when they're selling the card on TCG players, especially TCG players, since there's no pictures, they're going to be putting up the off-center cards, the cards with little white dots on their edges, etc. So you kind of want to lower down the decimal percentage that you're going to get a PSA 10 chance, which you can do in the calculator. But that's also like, it gives you an advantage if you have time to go and buy these cards in person, especially at LGSs on Facebook marketplaces, where you're going to be paying less fees on shipping as well. And you can also inspect the cards. That's going to guarantee that the percentages on PokeMetrics are going to match up and be more accurate. But you should keep that in mind on TCG player. The cards aren't going to be as good as these metrics indicate they could be when you're grading them. And that's why in the example, I tried to lower the percentage. And typically when I'm using my calculator, I'm going to lower the percentage from what it says on PokeMetrics, because I simply do not have time to meet up in person and find and pre-inspect the cards before I'm buying them raw. If you do, I mean, when you're starting out, you have more time than money, right? So I just don't have a lot of time to pre-inspect them in person. But when you're just starting out, I would suggest you to do that, to go into LGSs, find deals on Facebook Marketplace and pre-inspect them. But because I don't have time and I'm just buying them on TCG player, I'm going to lower the percentage that they're going to get a PSA 9 or 10 versus what it's saying on PokeMetrics. And I'm making sure that even with that leeway, with that margin, that I'm still going to be making money. Now, another thing that you want to keep in mind is that the prices of these cards are going to fluctuate. Typically, when you have a new set, the first card that comes to market, first to market for a PSA 10 is going to be super, super high. And then it's going to quickly, or it's going to go sharply down and then slowly go down for modern. So there is a time window thing wherein you kind of want to do this for sets that are just coming out, sets that are being opened, because you also know that they're pack fresh cards, but you want to try to get out on the market as fast as possible. And that's where you can also study the data on PokeData and look at that price graph and look if I mean, some cards are going to go up, right? So when you're looking at older cards, you can do this for older cards. You just want to keep that price history in mind, because it does take some time to get them graded, to get them graded. It can take like 3 months, you know, when you're using the bulk tier PSA. So timing is another thing to keep in mind. So we talked about tips on acquiring the raw cards, the timing of the market, adjusting the percentage to be more realistic. You want to always keep those in mind, but really like where the real skill becomes involved is in the speculation and picking which cards to grade. And honestly, I don't want to say it's easy. It really is going to take some trial and error. You're going to miss, you're going to lose some money sometimes. But guys, just focus on modern Pokemon, because that way you know it's pack fresh. They're going to be minty, mint plus when they're coming out of those packs and going straight to TCG player. And then just focus on popular Pokemon that look good. Look at the card, look objectively. Is this a pretty card? You know, I mean, these Pikachu Vs, especially with like Ash, and I know Ash isn't red, but they're so similar anyways. But Ash getting out of the anime, that's relevant to the current time. But think of popular Pokemon. I mean, everyone knows popular Pokemon: Gengar, Charizard, Pikachu. And just focus on modern Pokemon that are coming straight out of the pack, because you know they're going to be minty and easier to grade. All right, and there's so many more tips I could get into when it comes to grading modern Pokemon cards for money. But if you enjoyed this content, if you find it useful, please drop a like and a subscription. It really helps. We just hit 75,000 on TikTok. We just hit 7,000 on YouTube. I'm trying to focus on long form content. I really want to spread the wealth, you know, like share my knowledge with other people. I have a free ebook in the description that you can download, and the paid one will be coming out later, so that you can learn from all the failures that I've had to endure building up this business. And we also have something super exciting for the business that I don't want to announce yet. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, I hope you guys can follow along in my journey and make some cash with me too. Good luck and happy hunting.